Ahoy! Apologies for the voice, I've been perpetually sick since the beginning of the year. But today, I wanted to assemble a sampler platter, or grab bag, of games that I've had installed for a while but simply have not given much time to. We'll be looking at Sunkenland by Vector 3 Studios, Survive the Nights by A2Z Interactive, and Volcanoids by Volcanoid. I wanted to get a fair taste of each to see who I wanted to give more time to, maybe figure out my next project. From the top, I do want to say that each of these games is a bit undercooked. They are all still in development at the time of recording. If you game on PC, you know the shtick. However, they each had something at some point that piqued my interest enough to put down money for them. I'll also say that while I'm calling this a survival grab bag, these are all what I would consider light survival games. I'm not being asked to keep track of like proteins or carbs or more granular nutrients like that. Hell, one of these is probably not even really a survival game in that sense, but it's my list and I wanted to revisit these games for a chance to pull me in for more than a minute or two. So here's how this is going to go. I'm going to play each game for about an hour, cut that down to something smaller for this video, and give my thoughts as I go. I'll talk a bit about each and why I was initially pulled in, and by the end, hopefully have a more fully formed idea about continuing. If any of these look interesting to you, all of their Steam links will be in the description. So without further ado, let's start with Sunkenland. Alright, I'll also go ahead and mention that all of these recordings are going to be post-commentary, and a lot of these clips were also edited separately, so I'm kind of just like watching and commentating over it with you, so it's going to be a little bit of a ride for both of us. But yeah, I wanted to kind of show off this beginning part here of like what the actual starting the world options are. I love this kind of stuff in survival games, especially when they let you just kind of do whatever. The sillier they let you go, the better. I had two characters I think I set up, and this was just sort of like one of the more generic ones. I do appreciate that they don't waste too much time trying to explain the situation. They're like, here you are, just literally drop you into the world. And I think the last game I played that was something similar to this... Also, this game is gorgeous, by the way. Like, I have my graphic settings down to like medium, I think, and just because I wanted a more consistent frame rate. Also, I just love how silly this gathering system is. You don't have to smack the car, or the piles of junk. So you have to smack some stuff, but the other stuff that you don't have to smack, your guy just like eats it, I guess. But I love how gorgeous this game is, and I think the last game I played that was similar to this, at least in how it, like, aesthetically, and the first thing I thought was like Raft, because you're out in the water, but it's not quite Raft-like. It's actually similar to, what was it, Stranded Deep. I haven't played that game in so long, and I remember I played that on console. And that was like my gateway survival game. Yeah, the gathering is all very simple, and I think similar to a lot of other games that are coming out now, especially in the survival, sphere, like looting and all that is going to be integral. Like, you need to do more than just chopping down trees and farming to actually progress. You have to go looting and grabbing other stuff, because there's some stuff you just can't make. And I like that. But yeah, when the shadows freaked me out here, I was like, what is happening? I just realized there were birds. This looked like it was interactable, and I decided to give it a couple of smacks. Nothing happened. Yeah, I remember the building menu took a little bit getting used to, and this is where I was like, oh, I just realized there was another tab, and this is where everything else is. And I gotta admit, I don't know if I like this layout. This was a little cumbersome, a little overwhelming, because when I finally discovered it, I was like, oh, well, here's all the stuff. Oh, it's a lot of stuff. And this is where I was like, alright, well, this looks more important. And if I know my survival games, I know research tables are going to be very important. But yeah, this started to feel a bit too much too soon. And I understand, like, I appreciate when they let you have access to a lot of stuff right from the beginning, because like when you already know how to play the game, you kind of want to just get going, You go to where you need to go, get the stuff you need to get, build the stuff you want to actually have, like, get going faster. But for someone like me, who's kind of still new, this just feels a little like it's coming on a little too strong. I didn't even bother reading this, but I figured this was just like throwaway story for people who wanted it. This picture looks so creepy. And I was like, alright, well, here's a tutorial. They're not even really like telling me to follow. I was expecting some kind of like thing on the side. Yeah, there's blueprints, the map. I don't know if the map like intentionally doesn't appear to have a limit. But when I was fully zoomed out there, you could tell, like, the grid lines just sort of, like, don't cover everything. They only cover where the stuff is. Oh, yeah, and here's all the factions. From what I understand, currently, all the factions in this game are are enemies and there's nothing you can do about that. They're just people to fight. And, you know, you can take over their islands and stuff. I would kind of like it if there was, like, an actual faction relationship mechanic. Like, you can actually, like, talk some of them down and actually, like, trade buddies with them or something. Team up with them against some other faction. Something like that. That said, I also don't know all the stuff that's in the future for this game, so maybe something like that will come by. Maybe a, you know, a tighter map and all that other stuff. Yeah, I went through the construction menu there. And I was expecting this this hatchet upgrade to be similar to Stranded Deeps, where like when you upgrade from the regular hatchet, the next one is better, but it has durability. And I was pleasantly surprised to find that this hatchet does not have durability. Also, that I couldn't hit the crab with the hatchet, so I was like, alright, well, let me use the one tiny weapon I made myself. I wasn't sure how important combat was going to be just yet. And it doesn't really look like there's a lot of pressure right now to fight a lot of stuff. Like, I probably didn't even need to kill the crab. I felt kind of bad about it, actually. I don't remember where I found that duck. I think it was in the box. I do remember seeing some other people play this game, and the decorative options for this game are kind of wild. So that's kind of exciting. A big incentive for more looting. If it's not just for progression, it's going to be just for fun, silly nonsense. That's one of my favorite parts about a lot of these games, is the fun, silly nonsense that you can do. Like, yeah, survival stuff is cool, like just simulating a survival situation, but if I can't get a little silly with it, you're not going to keep me for long. Oh, and I guess I should probably mention who I first saw with this game, and I can't remember. I think it was either Cage848 or Fooster? And then eventually I know Josh from Let's Game It Out did a kind of a silly video about it. So my context for this game is not like a lot. Like, I don't have a lot of info about this game other than kind of the aesthetic, which I like. I think a lot of people compare it to like Waterworld or something. It's kind of ruined ocean survival type of thing, which I think is unique. I'm not sure what other kind of games like that are out there. And then, yeah, this like faction combat system that I don't really get into a lot on my little playthrough here, but I know that's kind of a big part of like the mid game once you start getting like guns and stuff. I do appreciate that they let you actually build little storage things right from the beginning. Not every game does that. Yeah, and personal inventory is very limited. I think you can expand it later, and I think I actually could have built something, like a bag or something, to expand my inventory, but I just didn't catch it until after. Because I was kind of just trying to speed through this whole experience. I just wanted to get a general taste of like how things are, how to build stuff, and yeah, I figured it was finally time to go into the water. And I gotta admit, underwater stuff in video games really freaks me out. But there's something about just the visual presentation of this game where like it's not trying to be scary. Although I did see some fish out this way and I was like, oh, good fish, you bad fish? I think they're marlin. But I didn't realize that at first and I was like, oh god, alright, you stay over there please. Because I do remember from Stranded Deep, that game made it very, very hazardous to be in the water unprepared. But this game is a lot more inviting. I guess that's the best way to describe the difference too, is like, it's not trying to be scary, it's trying to be more inviting. Because you need to do looting and, you know, harvesting all this stuff, and you need to go in the water for it. So they didn't want to make it too hostile. And I love that, honestly. And it makes it a lot easier to kind of appreciate the whole ruined world aesthetic too, because, you know, you're taking apart piles of junk, cars, and all this other stuff. You know, it's like a broken highway or something. I love it. Yeah, some of the stuff you need to chop up, and I could imagine this is one of those games too, where one thing I cut out from some of this this clip here is, I think I didn't die. I almost died like 3 times from drowning. This is definitely one of those games where I'm going to be my own worst enemy in a lot of ways. This is where I was like, oh wait, hold on. You give me individual storage things for certain things, so I will definitely take advantage of that. I can't remember what game I last played that allowed me to do that, but I definitely appreciate that kind of stuff too. Yeah, I went on just a big scavenging spree. Yeah, I do appreciate that it's not like oh, you need special tools to take apart cars, or you need certain things to do other things. My guy just runs up to a broken car and just eats it. Yeah, it's getting dark, so I was like, all right, what lighting options do you give me? And I do appreciate, at least I think, that the lighting options in this game do not require refilling. I presume later on you'll get, like, electric lights that need to be powered, but I love that you can just set up little, I don't know what these things are, torches. Yeah, this... I still don't know how I feel about this progression system, the research table here. So, like, I get it. I get what they were going for. And it feels very Raft-like, in that with Raft, like, you kind of just feed new items to the research table, and you can unlock blueprints that way. This is more like, see what you can build, feed the research table these materials, and then you can build them. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, it's... My assumption is they will eventually just give you a lot more stuff. Like, there's just going to be a ton of stuff the more you loot and you explore and all that stuff. But from the beginning, this definitely feels a little harsh on resources. And I think part of that might just be because I don't know what I should be focusing on yet. Like, again, a lot of the building and all this other stuff feels a little overwhelming up front, at least, especially with no, like, tutorial trying to guide you and everything. I assume once you actually know what you're doing, this isn't too bad. See, now this system for upgrading your research table, I think makes more sense than unlocking all the blueprints. Oh, there's also blueprints, I think, that I saw on one of the tabs that you can only find or buy. There is a trader, I know. I didn't see them in this playthrough, but I do know you can buy stuff. So I assume there's also stuff you can't make or find. You have to only buy it. And I think that's fine. I think that makes sense. Yeah, I finally decided to go after these fish. I cut out a lot of this fight with these fish, mostly because just chasing them down was so annoying. I assume there's going to be an easier way to take them down. It's probably a gun, or like a harpoon or something. But man, running them down on their turf, not being a fish, sucked. So after that, I was like, alright, well that's how I'm going to get leather. So let me go exploring out a little bit farther. Trying to keep an eye out for more dangerous fish. Found this like farm, or ranch I think it was called. Loaded up on like broken cars and tractors and stuff, and I was like, alright, now I got a whole bunch more crap to work with. Let's see what else I can build. Figured these, I'd probably, in a realistic situation, like in a proper playthrough, I would probably build multiple of both of these things. At least that's how I remember, like with Raft going, where like, if you wanted to keep up in the early game, you needed to have like multiple water generators, multiple food sources, and all the other stuff. Eventually I assume it'll be easier, but yeah, for now, I just kind of wanted to see what they all look like and how they function. And I actually love how simple they are. And this water system, I assume this is another one of those things that's like, moving water from one place to another will eventually get easier. I'll probably just put this closer to the water, or something, in an actual playthrough. I didn't have any real hope for farming just yet. I just kind of wanted to see what the farming mechanics were like in this game. Again, they seem kind of pleasantly simple. I presume you'll have like a ton of these little planters all over the place when you actually want to grow everything. My first thought was, because I had I think it was a tree seed, but I also had a strawberry seed, and I was like, well, food sounds nice, but I think generating my own like wood and stuff, right now anyways, probably sounds a little more useful. So with all the basic survival stuff set up, I decided it was finally time to go fight some of the locals. Again, I don't get into the advanced parts of the combat in this playthrough, but I get a little taste of it here, of like what taking over an island looks like. And this is a very easy one, I presume. Just a handful of mutants. Just look like a bunch of very emaciated people. I think these are probably the closest this game has to like zombies. But for the most part, yeah, all the combat is dangerous fish and just other dangerous survivors as people. And I know Genosis has a playthrough currently going with this game, and I've only taken a peek at it a couple of times because I don't want to spoil too much for myself, but it seems like he's already at that part of the game where it's just a lot of gunplay. So I imagine the whole tone and focus shifts dramatically from this kind of basic survival. Once you can travel a little bit farther, you can upgrade your tack a little bit more. Even something like this, I probably should have made myself a bow to make this a little easier, but yeah. So that's my first island taken over. And from what I understand, you can, like, claim islands in a way that prevents enemies from spawning again, but I don't know what that is just yet. And so I assume after some time, this island will fill up with bad guys again. Yeah, I loaded up my inventory already. Had to run back, drop everything off, come back to my weird pier base. I probably would not do whatever this building situation is on an actual playthrough. Grabbed everything I had, was like, alright, is there anything else I can build or research? The only thing I could research was making components, because components was required for everything. Unfortunately, components require rubber, which I think I only recently found, and I was like, alright, well, screw you too then. Yeah, lots of cool stuff. Lots of potential for where this game could go. Again, it feels a little overwhelming right now, but I think more than the others, this one definitely felt like just dedicating a little more time to it, getting it to be more familiar. I could really sink my teeth into this one. So that's Sunken Land. That's my little like snippet, little taste, little sampler platter of Sunken Land. I had fun, but it's time to move on. So next, let's check out Survive the Nights. Alright, so Survive the Nights. You gotta love these these early access in development zombie survival games on Steam. They got like a very small number of names they like to use, and it's almost always the same stuff. It's either something of the dead, something survive, something Z. And one of the things I'm gonna scroll through here real quick, but like they have like different scenarios that you can start your world up with, because the customization options you can really go off the rails with. So the scenarios are really great if you want to try and keep it something, a little more balanced, but I personally love imbalanced nonsense. You can go ahead and look at this while I talk, but like, yeah, I feel like there's a dime a dozen, the zombie survival games on Steam that are in development. And it's kind of hard to stand out. And I've also, personally played a bunch that just kind of feel like, what is this? What is this, just a quick cash grab? And I don't know the full history of the development of this game, but I know that the current crew that's working on it, they call it like a passion project. I don't know if they're the original people who had it, but I've seen like their like dev update videos and stuff they have on their YouTube channel, and they genuinely talk about it from like a place of affection. Like they're really loving this game. And I didn't see what the earlier versions of it looked like, but I can tell even just in this version that a lot of care has been put into this game. And they're of course very excited about more stuff coming up. Now, relative to the games that I've played, I think my channel I've mostly just played like, was it 7 Days to Die, Night of the Dead, and Surrounded? There might have been another one I missed. There was that tower defense zombie game, but like, out of all of the games that I've personally played, at least on my channel, and even off channel, like I enjoy the Resident Evil games and stuff like that, but none of them are quite like this. And the thing I appreciate about this game is that you can definitely play this like it's just a post-apocalyptic survival game without the zombies. I think the current systems that they have are a good like skeleton for just a solid survival game. And while they do have you keeping track of like hydration and calories, and then you can get sick, and the mental thing I think is just I think that's just for multiplayer. I don't think it comes into play during my playthrough here, but yeah, I can see them adding more stuff to it, being more granular about the different kinds of survival things you have to keep track of. But yeah, and of course I gave myself a ton of attribute points because I just wanted this to be like a quick thing. But I will say, I don't know how I feel about this leveling up system. Because while all of these are good, and you should be putting points into a bunch of them, just kind of, as evenly as you can, some of them affect blueprints, like stuff that you can build, and others affect your like player performance. And I feel like you should separate those things. And yes, it has a little description over each one. Oh yeah, this game also features Sunken Lands, like your player just eats everything. You don't have to break it down. You don't have to chop it up. You don't need a special tool to turn the couch into raw materials, you just grab it. So went ahead and I cleared out this house. I do also appreciate that, so because of the settings that I picked, I think every fireplace is going to have wood in it, but one thing that I appreciate is that they give you wood in abundance, generally, so that when you do come across a fireplace or something, or if you wanted to build your own fireplace, you have options. You can, get yourself some warmth and some light. And I do like that you give like a passive healing when you're warm. But this is also the first game I think I've played where you actually have to like clean your water. That might be missing something. Like I know like 7 Days to Die has like dirty water and clean water. But this kind of handling of stuff in your inventory, like I have to actually place the dirty water on the fire and then keep track of it, because if you don't, if you just let it sit there too long, it will just evaporate all the water. So you kind of have to like monitor a little bit. You don't get a notification that it's done. So you do kind of have to like, pay attention and do stuff as you're going through everything here. Now, yeah, I am following the tutorial, but I did not put a sleeping bag down because I wanted to kind of search around nearby to see if there's any other place I would rather set up. And this game is also pretty gorgeous. Like, I think my settings are also on like medium, so this game could look better, but this already looks great. And the nights are appropriately very dark, so torches like the one I made and putting little campfires around and stuff like that is very, very important. And I feel like I spawn somewhere different every time, so I'm not familiar with this location. That's why I had to check on the map. I'm like, where in the hell? Some of this stuff you can make, like the axe, but they were generous enough to just give me one. And hilariously, fallen trees, gigantic fallen trees, are among the things your character can just swallow whole. Handsaw. So, in the crafting menu, which I also feel is a little bit cumbersome, I think they can streamline that a little bit. In some of my previous tests, there were some things, yeah, the handsaw, there's some things you can't build without other items that you can only find. So like you can make the axe, you can make the hammer, but you have to find the handsaw. And items like inventory boxes and other things can only be made if you have the handsaw in your inventory. So this is another one of those things where, and I do like this mechanic to an extent, but you do have to, yeah, terrible aim. You do have to do like looting and stuff to progress, effectively. Yeah, they were very generous with the crossbow here. I think that was the first time I'd actually found a firearm in my like starting house. That may also be because of the settings I picked, but I'll take it. And these are like normal, what I would consider normal zombies. They're not armored, and I use the base like settings. Like you can adjust them, as you saw in the world creation. You can make them stronger, you can just customize how much health they have. And even with just like regular tools, a couple of hits seems to do the job. So they're not overwhelming, especially when they're alone. It's usually when they're in groups that it gets a little hairy. I like the look of this place because it just had the one door, and they can come through windows, but it's only got like, I think 3 windows. So I was like, you know what, I think for the purposes of this little test video, I think... Oh yeah, and some crafted items. You build them, but what you're really building is the blueprint, and then you place the blueprint somewhere in the world, and then you can just kind of construct it from there. I think the last time I saw a mechanic like that was in maybe the forest? It took some getting used to then, and I feel like it's definitely going to take some getting used to here as well. I don't hate it, it's just, it's different. So I think my brain is used to like 7 Days to Die, where it's like you just have all the materials and you can just plop the completed item down in the world somewhere. And also, speaking of the forest, I actually kind of appreciate that another game uses this mechanic. When you're cutting down a tree, you have to like really cut down the tree. Like it's a little silly, it's a little clunky, clunky looking, but I kind of dig it. And it's not, it doesn't take too long. And yes, your axe does have durability. But the axe doesn't take a whole lot to make. And, the actual item degradation isn't too bad. I think that is something else you can adjust in the settings. Now here's the cool thing that I like about this game that kind of harkens back to some of the stuff I really wish older zombie survival games had, and more other zombie survival games had, where you can actually just fortify your house. Because I will say that the base building in this game is definitely more base fortification. If there is a way to like build walls and doors and windows and stuff, I haven't found it yet. But currently, if you just find a house you like, yeah, you could just board up the windows and doors. Obviously, this is not actually a good place to set up a proper base. This is just a, for this video type of thing. But I love it. And then, yeah, you can repair the boards as they take damage with like nails and stuff. And as you saw, you build one nail, and it builds actually 500 nails. Love it. Yeah, these very basic spike barricades. From what I remember, I think the more complicated barricades require like a workbench and or other tools that I don't have. So, yeah, more exploring to get more tools to, keep leveling up your ability to build more complicated stuff is going to be very important for leveling up your defenses. Because, as you'll see, when we get to the Horde, the first Horde is not bad. I think similar to if you played 7 Days to Die and you did Horde every night. That first night Horde, you kind of don't even need a base for it. Like, you can just handle it if you have at least one good weapon. And it's the same thing here. And the other thing I appreciate, if you saw in the options menu when we were building the world, you don't even need to fight the Hordes. Because they give you the option to, like, if you can effectively hide inside of a structure, you can still survive the night, and then the Horde will just kind of wait till the next time. But, oh yeah, and I saw this balcony, I was like, oh man, wish I'd found this sooner, because this would be a really nice place to hold up. So they have one place they can get to me at. But, yeah, the Hordes do level up in difficulty when you kill them. So, you can hide, but, fighting them off will help advance things. Oh yeah, one thing I didn't show was that I set up some campfires out here. I don't know if there's a more resource-efficient way to just put lights up around the place at this point. But for me, just setting up campfires, because they're not too resource-intensive, just setting up campfires all over the place is kind of the best way to go for now. And, yeah, here we go, Horde 1. So this is, like I said, not terribly dramatic, but if I didn't have some basic fortifications, I could see this being like a handful. Yeah, they're attacking the spikes. Spikes are doing some damage. I think I did adjust the damage that zombies can do to fortifications. So if you want to make them more threatening or more dangerous, that kind of stuff, all of that's customizable. And of course, yeah, you can repair your barricades. Takes nails. Yeah, not too bad. And then you get like an actual notification. Let's see. Yeah, once you kill the last zombie in the Horde, it's like, okay, Horde difficulty increased. The next Horde is going to be harder. Now, because of the settings are always like really janky when I'm playing, whenever I've like done little test runs, I don't know what proper progression of like Horde difficulty looks like, because it's either very easy, like you just saw, or they're, sprinting, one-shot kill, horrible nightmare zombies. But I suspect, similar to, other games with Horde mechanics, it's just going to be a gradual progression. But yeah, I do appreciate the option, at least. Like, if you don't feel like your fortifications are up to a big fight, you're like, alright, you know what? We're going to turn all the lights off tonight, or we're just going to hide. we can't afford the difficulty to go up just yet. We're gonna wait it out. Give ourselves some more, more time to build stuff up. I love that. Yeah, I know that after you survive the full night, and the other mechanic here, I think other games have done this too. I can't remember them right now. But if you survive the night with like good enough standing, like your health is okay, you're not like hungry, you're not thirsty, you actually get a boost to your max health. So it's like your overall health is improved by finishing the night in good health, which is cool. So it's a good way to oh yeah, so because the settings that I picked, every car is just going to have everything it needs and be in perfect condition. This is not normally how the game is played. Normally it's missing at least half of this stuff. It's banged up. So you kind of have to like shop around and try and find a car that isn't too beat up. And then, of course, you will probably want to pull like spark plugs and fan belts and all other stuff from other vehicles, so that when you find a vehicle you do want, you can just load it all up into that one. But yeah, so the quest is like, get a vehicle running. And in this case, I could have technically picked anything, because these were all fine. But I picked this one because it's easy to back up out of the car park here. The other thing I didn't show off that it gave me a notification for was that this game allows you to do the silly, like, custom silencer thing with oil filters. You can just attach them to guns. And it has durability, but it makes your shots quieter. First thing I thought of was like, well, since I didn't die taking over the car park or during Horde, let's go pick a fight somewhere. The first thing I thought of was, let's get to the gun shop. And there's gun shops all over the place, obviously, but this was the nearest one to me. So let's get to the gun shop, see if we can find some better armaments, and just get myself into a big fight. I intentionally am trying to like get myself in over my head here. But again, a lot of these settings that I've set up for myself in this particular playthrough are definitely geared for a kind of quick and easy just showcase. That's all I wanted to do. And I know some people don't like the kind of, I don't know what you call it, like, maybe like silly, over-exaggerated zombie look to the zombies. They wanted something like a little more realistic and whatever. I kind of like the kind of B-movie style silly zombies. Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure this is also a effect of the settings that I picked, because I've never found this gun before in any of my other like little playthroughs. And I was like, alright, and then you're going to give me more guns, but I particularly wanted to grab the one that was in better condition. I was like, alright, we got some guns, we got some bullets. Let's go pick a fight somewhere. I drove into the next nearest town. And I appreciate that the combat is very, like, simple, at least in, in terms of just, like, the regular zombies. I know things get more complicated later. Eventually zombies will have, like, armor and whatever. I mean, reasonably. You'll see at the end of this video, I encounter, like, SWAT zombies and they have armor. Yeah, all these basic zombies, though? I mean, a firearm is definitely excessive, but it is incredibly satisfying. Oh, yes. My gun jammed. I honestly, I don't know, it's one of those things where the game has enough going on that I like, that I can kind of forgive, item quality mechanics, but I generally hate item degradation and that kind of stuff in games. It makes sense in this setting. But, like, in this game, you need a cleaning kit to keep your guns in better shape to reduce the chance of jamming. I don't know what happens when your gun goes to 0, but, as you saw my little Clinchester there, I had 15% relative jams. And this gun, as you can tell, my terrible move is doing me no favors. Felt like one of my kills here with this thing is just luck. And of course all of my grazing hits are not nearly strong enough. I think additionally, because of the settings that I have, they were pretty generous with the ammo. I don't think you're normally going to have as much ammo as I do. You're going to be quiet and you're going to be using melee a lot before you can build up enough arsenal. Yeah, there he is. Whipping so many shots. I was like, alright, you know what? Can I fireworks a SWAT zombie? I sure can. But alright, so that was Survive the Nights. Quick little snippet. I love this game, and I'll definitely be coming back for it. But it's time to move on to our final game for the grab bag, Volcanoids. Alright, Volcanoids. This one is definitely a bit different from the others, even from just a survival sense, because there's no like eating or drinking. Also, yes, this game does feature full Steam Workshop modifications, and I do use some of them to make this little short, sampler platter experience smoother. And I'll talk more about the game after the little intro video here.
Adranos used to be a wondrous place, a rich and prosperous island, home to a busy trading port. But that was not meant to last. It began when strange formations like giant soil tracks started to appear across the island. No one was able to explain how they were made. Soon after the formations appeared, earthquakes followed. Weak at first, they grew more frequent and more violent. A few days later, 3 volcanoes erupted in the island lagoon, hurling stones, sinking ships, crushing buildings. Captains feared for the safety of their vessels. All trade stopped. People left Adranos aboard fleeing ships. The brave few who had remained soon regretted their decision. An enormous volcano that lay dormant for centuries erupted, flooding the island with a pyroclastic wave, covering it with lava and hurling stones miles away. Those who had made it to the ships were evacuated, myself among them. What we left behind was an apocalyptic landscape of fire and dust. Periodic eruptions turned our beautiful home into a hellish nightmare, disrupting both naval and aerial traffic for years. Despite their best efforts, not even the best imperial geologists were able to explain the volcano's sudden appearance. Several years later, exiles from Adranos secured funding for an expedition to return to the island and discover what happened. It was my honor to serve as the captain of the Archimedes submarine. As we surfaced a safe distance from Adranos' shore, we knew that this expedition to reclaim our homeland had only just begun.
Okay. So yeah, that's the general setup. And I guess I'll say that, yeah, the survival aspect of this game is more like survival crafting, because you just kind of have to build yourself up and, take on more advanced, dangerous situations, etc., etc. But I wanted to add this to the list because it's just been sitting in my I almost said inbox, but it's been installed for a while. I just haven't really dedicated a lot of time to it. I keep checking it out, but never really getting fully hooked into it. You don't have to read this whole thing, but basically, yeah. This game's main hook is that you get to control a drill ship, and one of the things we have to do here in the tutorial is just to basically build a core so that we can hijack one from the bad guys. And the little intro video there, I don't think explained anything about the actual enemy here, because it's like, oh, we don't know what happened. But the enemies are robots. So, we're not fighting mutants, we're not fighting crazy humans, we're not fighting zombies. We're fighting robots. And I also just kind of generally love the aesthetic of this game. So we're in a submarine right now, so everything kind of looks rough and industrial, but that's the whole look of every other piece of equipment in this game. But yeah, here's the drill ship core. To build this, and the edited version of this playthrough is, it jumps around a bit, because a lot of this stuff does just take a lot of time. So yeah, got a distress signal from some cogs. The cogs are the bad guys. And I gotta go basically hijack them before they can make their repairs and get out of here. And And every time you come across one of these little towns, you gotta check to make sure where the goodies are. And I will say, for the starting pistol, this game's revolver has a very satisfying punch to it. Somehow my aim is actually okay for this game. Yeah, the combat's not too crazy in the beginning. Even like later on, you kind of get to see that the version of the combat that I'm engaging in is very simplified. But it does get a lot more interesting with a lot more different like weapons and enemies and all of the stuff you have to worry about. So, slotted in the core. I technically have control, but now I have to fix it up because something happened to it. And we'll get to see the next major hook of this game. I don't know about hook, I would say complication. So the robots are one thing, and the more aggressive you are to them, the more aggressive they become, and more of a threat they become. But there's also one additional danger. The volcano. I'm sure you can see the timer at the top there. Yeah, Joseph storage. I don't know if this changes on difficulties, but it does come, the first one you grab does come with a bunch of necessities, and yeah, it's like, okay, now you're ready to go. You can follow the tutorial, you can just kind of go off on your own, but since this is kind of like a showcase and, you know, I want to learn a little bit more, and heck yeah, you can upload custom emblems and stuff. I'm going to go ahead and just try to do a bunch of the tutorial just so I can show it off and get myself a little more familiar. I will say, out of all the complaints I had about other games, or the other two games that I played, having kind of cumbersome either menuing or progression systems, as much as this one technically, I don't know, is the most streamlined, it just feels kind of clunky. Maybe you'll see what I mean. And maybe it's just, I don't know, how it's supposed to be because everything else looks and feels very clunky. But yeah, so I activated the turret that was already part of the module, or already part of my drill ship. And the way that the drill ship works is you can add segments onto it later, once you like advance some of your crafting abilities. And then each segment has these little like compartments where you can build stuff into it. So it can either be storage or crafting benches and stuff like that. And at the top there you saw is a module for a turret that can just poke out the top. So whenever we are surfacing, we're on the ground, we got a little bit of like passive defense going on. So one of the first quests here is just to generate some ammo. But I'm sure if you noticed, one of the mods that I picked up at the beginning, yeah, there's different kinds of workbenches. You know how survival games are. One of the mods I picked up was just to make it so the turrets don't have to worry about ammo. Hand bracer. I love that they let you grab this early. And it basically just lets you kind of remote control your drill ship so that when you're far away, if you need to do stuff from a distance, you can. I think it also comes with a light, which is very handy. Yeah, research table, of course, survival crafting games. Need your research table. I think the other thing that throws me off a lot about the progression in this game is nothing looks like what I would expect except the crafting table. The crafting table looks like a table that you would build stuff at, but like the refinery, that red thing, I would not look at that and immediately think, yes, this is made for refining. And same thing with the research table. I don't look at that and think, yes, this is where I do my research. I think it's just part of the whole aesthetic of like, even though you're in a drill ship, it's all very kind of submarine-y feeling. Went ahead and I just built myself another turret. And yeah, you can see it kind of like finds little slots. Pop it in. I think their energy that they pull from the coal that's in my ship's inventory is negligible. But eventually you can have other modules that drain a little bit more. And then yeah, we can go ahead and do our first little dive so you can see how the drill ship actually functions when it's not just parked. And while in this playthrough I don't end up adding additional segments to it, I do end up fighting a drill ship that does have an extra segment. And from what I can tell, you can get like a bunch. Like you can just get like a whole train, big mobile base that can defend itself and do a bunch of research and all this other stuff. Very cool. And then yeah, when you're underground, instead of trying to deal with some awkward first-person driving a drill ship underground mechanic, they kind of simplified it into, I guess, what it would look like if you're just kind of looking through the screen, like in a submarine, basically. You just kind of know where you're navigating, you just kind of WASD around in the dirt. And those different kind of soils and rocks that you can punch through once you upgrade your drill, so you can go a little farther and explore more. You can go underground. There's like, I don't know if you saw on the left there was like different layers of like caves and stuff. And of course, bad guys are going to get more and more dangerous the farther out you go and deeper you go. Yeah, very cool. There's a lot here in general that just kind of like hooked me. Like, first of all, I love the aesthetic. And I don't know, I always have a thing for fighting robots. So if you can make fighting robots fun, I'm on board. But the whole drill ship thing, I've never heard or seen anything like it. Just a big mobile base, and I don't know anything about that game, Zompiercer, where you control a train. I assume there's a similar mechanic where you're basically taking care of the train, which is your base. But I don't know, I've never heard about anything else quite like that. But I love the gimmick here. And then yeah, you got the periscope. Not exactly a good place to view the volcano going off, so finding a new spot, because it is always fun to at least watch it go off once. And you do need to be underground when this goes off. It will kill you and your drill ship. If you're not near your drill ship when this is happening, you can take shelter inside a building. I think a mine as well, if you're near a mine. You have to be indoors somewhere. Then you can use the bracer to tell your drill ship to go underground without you. And then you can tell it to resurface remotely as well. Very handy little quality of life mechanic there. Yeah, I try to surface here, but then the game's telling me, like, no, there's already someone there. You have to find somewhere else. I'm like, oh, alright. But I can't see anything, so I was like, alright, well, let's surface somewhere else. Let's see if we can go pick a fight with somebody. Yeah, I pick a fight, and I do some other stuff to kind of show off a little bit of the progression system, research, and all that. And I eventually skip around to some of the other fights I get into. But one of the things they mention is, like, every one of the other enemy drill ships has a kind of specialty. So when you're looking for... Oh yeah, on my way, just to do some exploring, I ran into these guys. My terrible aim comes back. Oh yeah, they run away, like when they're hurt, which is kind of neat. Oh yes, yeah, so gathering enemy parts and pieces are essential to upgrading stuff. So you want to collect everything. But, yeah, so every one of the enemy drill ships kind of has a specialty. So when you want to either upgrade your production, you want to upgrade your research, or other stuff like that, you can later on kind of pick and choose. Oh yeah, we finally get grenades. I say finally, but I'm used to getting these a little later, and it's kind of ridiculous that they gave these to me this soon. Yeah, grenades are incredible for destroying drill ship components. Take a quest from a distance, which is nice. Little periscope, which is also cool. So if you get an alert, like, oh hey, your drill ship's under attack, you can just use the periscope real quick and be like, okay, how bad is it? Do I need to actually head back, or can my turrets handle it? But yeah, each one of the enemy drill ships has a specialty, so when you have multiple enemy drill ships to choose from when you're looking on the map, and you're like, oh, I actually need, like, production research materials, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go pick a fight with the production drill ship enemies. I don't remember who these first guys are. Oh yeah, and all these little towns, their basements have workbenches and stuff, so you can actually still get stuff done if you're waiting for volcano nonsense to pass over. So while I was here, I was like, you know what, the quest just wanted me to do this, I'll just get this out of the way now. Yeah, and the next quest is like, you can see the different kinds of drill ships and what other kind of upgrades they have. I think the first one they send you after is always the same, but then after this, yeah, you can do some general exploring and find which ones you need, and you can make the advancements you need to. Oh yeah. So you get the different quests that I took, like, so this one was just like kill a certain number of these guys. You just get the reward immediately, which is kind of cool. And I kind of forgot this game had an armor system, but yeah, they immediately just give you the reward for doing that. So now I have armor. You can see on my hotbar. The thing I kind of like about the armor in this game too is it's not like an immediate use type of thing. You can't just like pop it on in the middle of a firefight. Like you can, but you put yourself at risk because, as you'll see after I'm done with these guys, you're kind of stuck because it takes a little time to put it on. Now I am just kind of shooting at these guys willy-nilly, but I think they do have like specific yeah, that was... I did not mean to actually like just throw the grenade at that one guy. He just kind of like flew right into it. But yeah. So if you're gonna put armor on, find some cover real quick and then you can slip it on. And it makes a big difference too. Like, one of the mods I'm playing with right now is just like passively regenerating health, and it's kind of aggressive. Like, it makes the game very easy. You normally don't have any kind of passive healing. You have to manually heal yourself. And armor makes a huge difference for your survivability. Like, having the healing items, similar to putting armor on, the healing items are not instant use. It's like, you guys have to like take it out and then use it. And I think even then it just gradually heals you. Like, so, combat's generally a little more dangerous than how I'm showing it off here, but like I said, I kind of wanted this whole showcase to be a little quick, little, you know, just kind of like get the general idea of what's going on. Yeah, looting these guys. And the new way to destroy the whole ship is to destroy all its components. This was fun. So, they're packing up and they're trying to leave, but there's this one mechanic in the game where if you have a breach in your hull, like the hole I made, you can't actually go underground. So they're trying to leave, but they can't. So they're just sort of like stuck in this like infinite loop of like, oh god, he's ripping out our guts. We have to go, but they can't. And yeah, those are the modules that help you make certain other research upgrades. But the only way to destroy the drill ship is to destroy all of the modules. So you have to kind of like find everything. You don't have to use the pick, it's just kind of the easiest thing for me right now. Obviously, if I had a bunch of grenades, I'd use that. And then it blows up. And then I can harvest all the goodies. And then for like drill ship modifications, like upgrading the drill itself, or the tracks, or other stuff, using the broken parts from defeated drills is essential. So yeah, not bad. Yeah, drill ship combat's not too crazy. At least not in the beginning. Grenades are obviously very helpful. Yeah, build an armor repair station. And you can also build a health, like, regeneration station too. Obviously, with passive healing, because of the mod, it would be kind of excessive. But yeah, being able to regenerate armor would be nice, just kind of building that in. And now I have a whole bunch of other research things available to me, so I'm like, alright. At this point, I'm like, I don't even know what's important, so whatever it tells me I have the resources to go ahead and research, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And everything else seems like it takes sulfur powder, so I'm like, alright, fine, I'll do some sulfur powder. One of the things I managed to snag from the enemy ship was this, like, stats screen, so I thought that was kind of neat. Got my sulfur powder. Got whatever that thing is. Now I actually go back to following the tutorial, and this one is nice because this is automatically applied to my drill ship so that when I get this, I can research things faster. I think it also unlocks more like things that can be researched, but all the same, to do more research in advance, I'm going to have to, fight more guys, loot more drill ships, etc., etc. So a lot of the other stuff you're going to want to do when you're building out your equipment and everything is what's going to help me make combat a little bit smoother. So grenades are a big one. The dials I was making, because those are components for, well, a lot of things. Yeah, schematics and recipes unlocking. Yeah, so now that that's been applied, now I can actually start doing some crazy research. Yeah, I needed the dials for the armor thing. Turret control. I don't use this, but I love the idea of this. Because there's other kinds of turrets you can get. But yeah, this allows you to just manually take control. Love it. So like the turrets that I have are the pistol turrets. You can get like shotgun turrets. I think there's sniper turrets eventually. Being able to take control of those, especially like, if you're under attack by a bunch of different kinds of enemies and you really want to prioritize taking out a certain enemy instead of like whoever's closest, taking manual control would be very handy. And of course, this game has multiplayer, so you and your buddies can all just kind of divvy up responsibilities of who's doing what and have someone jump on the guns, etc., etc. Yeah, it's a little hard to keep track of what's going on here, but I'm kind of just skipping around to the different kinds of upgrades and stuff you can do, so letting the ship do its thing. On my way to go check out another drill ship, I get jumped by these guys. Scared the crap out of me. Now, last time I played this game, it did not have these electric enemies, so these are new to me. But there was like a whole, like, Tesla update. Get like new enemies and new like weapons and stuff. Probably a turret too, I think. But yeah, I was on my way over to another drill ship I saw on the map, and I was like, alright. See what else we can do here. Now that we have more grenades. Punch a hole in their ship so they don't try and get away. And some of these guys, I think they do have shotguns, and it's too bad I can't just take their shotguns, but I do get a shotgun eventually when I upgrade my crafting bench. I'll rip these guys up, take out their guts, and get all the extra research stuff. Oh yeah, so when you go into an enemy ship, one of the modules they have are these like, bot crafting spawners. Some drill ships have more than others, and you definitely want to try and get those. Else you're going to have, a continuous stream of enemies on you. Trapped on the ladder here. In general, the controls feel good. I will say out of the 3 games that I'm playing in this grab bag, this one's I think been out the longest. So it's had the most general handling refinements. Oh yeah, I'm sitting here doing a bunch of research, and I was like, oh, I can upgrade this, so I'm letting that upgrade. As you can hear, my turrets are just going ham on some robots. So I pissed them off. On the top left there, you can see, apparently escalated the situation sufficiently so that now they're just sending waves of robots after me. And my turrets are handling it. And the next upgrade, one of the more significant upgrades in my opinion, upgrade on the crafting bench, because this thing unlocks some really sweet stuff. In addition to, more components to make more stuff, you got more things you can add to the interior. I don't even know what most of the stuff does, but it's all here. More modules, a shotgun turret, some of these other production modules and stuff will just help make all the other production stuff you do in the ship faster, I think, and maybe more efficient. Tesla rifle, yeah. Shotgun, finally. Yeah. Upgrading that crafting bench kind of opened up everything. Build all the new ammo and stuff. Yeah, and then you can upgrade your turret, new segments, drills. Of course, you need to get all this stuff together for it, but yeah, now it's like, okay, everything really opened up. And it wouldn't have given me the shotgun quest unless it had finished crafting, so. God, this thing is satisfying. This is where we're kind of skipping around a bit, so I apologize if it seems like it's incoherent, but there's a lot of time of just like me running around in between everything happening. I just kind of wanted to show off all the bits of different things going on. So this is me finally popping out inside the cave system. And I think there's 2 or 3 different layers, so I'm in the middle layer right now. And I kind of just want to pick a fight with somebody, because in general, from what I recall, every fight I've tried to pick down here has been way harder than the fights I've picking on the surface. These guys are a dual segment, they got some guns up, but they are not interested in a fight, because I'm sitting here, rolling up, and they're just like, nope, I'm out. There's nothing I can do. Once they fold up, yeah, if I don't punch a hole in them, they're just gone. I do get to use my shotgun to clean up the rest of them. Extremely, extremely satisfying. I was like, alright, I'll just keep running around then. Yeah, and I roll up on these guys, and I'm like, okay. They might still kick my ass, but I have to punch a hole in their ship so they don't run, so I'm just gonna blitz it. Just get in there as quickly as I can. Punch a hole in something, and now they're grounded. Now, I just have to not die. Now, normally this would be an extremely dangerous situation. I probably would have died, but again, the mod for passive health regen is a little overpowered. But yeah, getting into these kind of fights is really the meat and potatoes of this game's experience, because eventually you kind of find out that all the volcanic activity around the island is because these guys have been digging around and mining and kind of destabilizing the area. And you have to end up kind of like destroying their drills and all that. And of course those fights are big, because that's where all their big important stuff is. But yeah, running around, finding different drills, wrecking shop, taking all their pieces, getting bigger and stronger. But even though I didn't get to upgrade my drill to have an additional segment, you do get to kind of see what it looks like on the inside here. And you get a kind of a taste of what it's like to really expand, what having a gigantic modular base is going to look like once you really start growing it. And, I imagine mid-late game is going to be like every segment is going to have a thing it's dedicated to, just to make all of your other processes a little smoother. I always gotta loot everything, make sure I got topped up on ammo. Just start breaking everything. The quest reward for getting another module was more grenades, and I was like, well, if you insist. I think I had... Yeah, I think I spent all my grenades, so I was like, well, that's the next bit easier. Especially since, as you'll see up ahead here, some of these modules are out of reach of my pickaxe, so... Extra grenades is very handy. Yeah. And eventually there are, I guess the equivalent of like C4 explosives. Do a lot more damage. But, I mean, shotgun and grenades, it's kind of hard to go wrong. So that's kind of the general snapshot experience of what Volcanoid is all about. There's a lot more this game already has. There's a lot more they keep talking about on the horizon. I'm very excited to come back to this game. But the update cycle for this game is very long. I guess just assume it's a small team. But there's so many cool things here. I'm always going to come back to this game. But that's Volcanoids. And that's kind of the end of the snapshot demos that I wanted to do for this little grab bag. So, hope you enjoyed that little taste of these 3 games that I've been kind of sitting on, wanted to spend some more time with. So let's kind of roll into the conclusion. Alright, in conclusion, I was expecting to walk away with a more obvious choice for which one I wanted to invest more time into, but I came away really feeling a pull from each to stay longer. That said, while Survive the Nights would be closer to my comfort zone, and it offered enough unique stuff for me to justify it, I think it would be a bit too close to my comfort zone for the time being, if that makes sense. This channel has a lot of zombie survival content, and I'd like to diversify a bit. I will absolutely come back, and probably make some content on it in the future though. The enthusiasm from the devs is very encouraging, and I can't wait to see what comes next. As for Volcanoids, it's been installed on my machine longer than the others, but in that time has seen the least amount of updates. The devs are still working on it, and updates do trickle out, but it still needs a bit more time in the oven from me. I do love killing robots, and the steampunk aesthetic plus the unique hook of growing a mobile base will keep me coming back. So hopefully the new island will freshen things up a bit. All that said, I definitely feel the most positively about Sunkenland. It has a lot of growing to do still, but what they've added since I bought the game like about a year ago or so already feels worth the price tag. No promises on coming timeline for things on this channel, but I do think I'll be devoting some time to the sea in the near future. I hope this is a good look at some things I've been sitting on. Once again, all Steam links are in the description. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.